And for Off the Block, I'm Vinny Lopes, and we are now joined by IPFW head coach, Hall of Fame head coach Arnie Ball, talk about his team's upcoming matches this weekend against Penn State and St. Francis. And Coach, you look at these two matches, what's your initial thoughts playing these two opponents from the EIVA?
Well, I'm glad that St. Francis is in California with us because they're tired like we are. And excuse me, Penn State was in Hawaii, so they're even more tired.
Yeah.
But we're excited about getting a chance to play at home. Obviously, we were on the road last weekend, but it's always fun and exciting time to have an opening weekend at all.
Yeah, and Coach, talking about your weekend last week at the UC Santa Barbara Invitational, you went 1-2, but what were some of the positives you were able to take away from that tournament from seeing your team play?
Well, we got beat by UCLA and Santa Barbara in 4, and other than the other than the last set against UCLA, all the games were very, very, very close, and our kids competed at a pretty high level.
And Coach, looking at your team this year, obviously you have a lot of returners. I want to ask you about one or two of them. Omar Rivera, your setter. This is now his 4th year setting. How do you feel that his progress has been in just kind of developing and continuing to grow in the position?
Well, I think Omar's certainly made a lot of progress in the years that he's been here. We always are looking for more, of course, but his set selection is much better, location is much better, and his leadership skills are better, so I can't really ask him for any more than that.
Yeah. And, talking about your outside attackers and opposites, Andrew Sullivan, was putting up some big numbers. What type of year do you think that fans and you can expect from him coming back for his junior year?
Well, if Andy Sullivan doesn't have a really great year, then our team will struggle because he's our number one offensive weapon and has lots of power and some variety in his ability to move the ball around. So he has to come to play every night and to play well. Our outside position is a little more experienced. We have a freshman kid from Austria who has a lot of background playing, but all the NCAA volleyball and the training is all new to him. And Nick Smalter's been our other outside, and he had some sparing time last year and worked really hard over the summer. So we have some size on the left side, but our firepower is in that opposite position with Andy. Right.
And Coach, you look at your conference, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, just because, you've been around the MIVA for a while now. Can you recall a time that the conference has been this deep when you look at just the amount of teams that, could potentially be ranked this season?
Well, I think it's the first time in my history of being in the MIVA, and that's true as a player, but way back, as well as when I started this program in 81, that you better bring your A game every night, because I think any team will give any other team a real battle this year.
Yeah. And, looking at your matches this upcoming weekend against Penn State and St. Francis, what's going to be the key that your team's going to have to do to come away with 2 wins?
It always comes back to serving and passing. Our passing was a little suspect out in Santa Barbara. I thought our serving was very good, but our passing was suspect. So we really got to show up our passing so that we can run some middle attack and then get Andy some one-on-one on the outside.
Yeah. And Coach, looking at this year for you, obviously, it's going to be your final season before you retire. So this weekend's your final kind of home opener. What's some of the emotions right now for you, as the season gets going, knowing that it's going to be your last?
Well, it's been pretty good so far. And then Santa Barbara chose to give me a little salute on the way out on the farm match out there, and that got to me a little bit. So I'm going to have to really work at controlling my emotions as we go through the season, as we go to some of these facilities and certainly at home for the last time.